Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and in this video, I want to show you 10 different ways that you can utilize ChatGPT with your website. So this is going to help you to build a website, to maintain a website, to rank better on Google, and to really offload a lot of the tasks that otherwise come with managing and maintaining a website, like writing blog posts and things like that. So these are all things that are a little bit more advanced with ChatGPT. I'm going to talk about some really detailed and intricate commands you can use to really optimize the output you're getting, again, to make sure that you're getting things done effectively without having to babysit it and really manage it all yourself. So the benefit here, of course, is that it is going to be quicker, much less of your time. You don't have to hire third parties to do SEO and to write and things like that. And in the end, you're able to use a very powerful tool to generate more ideas and find more success, hopefully, with your website. Now, there's a couple different ways we can do this. So number one on this list is pretty different from the next 9, but I wanted to showcase it anyway because it really demonstrates the power of ChatGPT, and we'll also use some features related to this later on in the video. So kind of an intro to using ChatGPT to do coding for you. This would be just using this software to just flat out make the website for you. So if you wanted to make a really basic website, you could tell it to make it with HTML. So HTML is the language that you could use to make a super fundamental website. So if we just said, for example, write an HTML website, and let's just say maybe I have like a construction equipment rental company. So essentially what I could do is I could tell it to write a website for me that includes and just really list out everything you want. Now the drawback here is that you're not able to really customize this in the future without really understanding HTML. So that's why it's like kind of a cool feature to have here, but not like a long-term best practice for your website. But just kind of showing you can make a really, really long and intricate command telling it to make a website that has like, this is the name, just give it a slogan. We're gonna kind of delegate that to ChatGPT because it is able to do that for us. We can tell it to choose a color palette that one of the colors is yellow, caterpillar yellow. Maybe it'll know what that means, but generally it's gonna make a good color palette. We want a 200-word about me section. So we could just say, I don't care like what's in it, but generally it needs to say that it's family owned. There's 2 brothers that own the business and it's been in business since 2013. And then I could even tell it like, these are the equipments, these are the different pieces of equipment I have, and just like make some reasonable prices. This is another great way to kind of have it help you in other decisions with your business in general. Now, of course, always verify the information you get from here because ChatGPT is a natural language model, meaning it's designed to mimic human speech. And for the most part, a lot of what it says is correct, but it's not fact-checking everything, and you should fact-check things because sometimes it says things that aren't necessarily true. So always, take it with a grain of salt. And then, of course, we can have it make other sections on here, including different buttons. We can have a lot going on with this website that, just a simple little command. It's almost like if you hired a really basic website developer and you said, hey, make this for me, this is what I want. That's exactly what ChatGPT is doing. So if I just hit enter right here, all right, so there we go. It's off writing our website. Now, while it's doing that, I'm going to go to Google and look up HTML viewer. And from here, we're just going to go to Code Beautify so we can see what it actually makes. If you ever want to actually use an HTML website, it's pretty easy to do. You would save it as an HTML file. So you could just copy this to like a notepad on your laptop and save it as HTML. And then you can upload that to a website host. Now we're going to talk about hosting in a minute, but I just wanted to see what this actually comes up with. All right, so if I copy that code over here, you can see, like I said, a pretty basic website, but it gets the job done. They made a little slogan for us. They have 3 buttons at the top. If you click on email us, it'll actually go and email the email that I told it to. It has an about us, and down here it has some prices. I don't really know offhand if that's a good, like those prices look kind of low to me, to be honest, but maybe they're realistic prices, who knows. And of course, our rental equipment. It looks like I cut off there. Unfortunately, there is a limit on how much output you can get from ChatGPT. This was obviously super, super long, but nonetheless, that's the first one you're able to do. Moving on to the next 9, like I said, are more tied together because really the drawback of making a website like this is that it's going to be a lot more hands-on further on down the road. You're going to have to really understand HTML if you want to edit any of this, and that's really not ideal. So really the best way to make a website with ChatGPT is probably going to be with WordPress. So with WordPress, let's actually get started making a WordPress website, and then I can go through the next 9 and how we can use ChatGPT ChatGPT to really facilitate our WordPress websites. So in a new tab, we can go to santrelmedia.com/hostinger. Right there, it's going to walk us over to this page here. And from here, we can go to hosting, click the little drop down, and click on WordPress hosting. Now, this is what I was mentioning before. If you make a HTML website, you could just use web hosting right here and upload your file. It's pretty easy to do, but like I said, you're going to run into some roadblocks further on down the road. So WordPress is really the easiest way to do this, I would say, and the best way to manage your website when you're building it using ChatGPT. So we're going to claim deal here, and it's going to walk us down this right here. Okay, forgive me, sorry, I didn't explain this. So we're using WordPress. WordPress is open source. It powers a third of the internet. It's huge. A lot of people use it, obviously, and it's free to use. But in order to use it, you have to find a domain and somewhere to host it. Otherwise, you make a website, you close out of your tab, and it disappears, and nobody can ever visit that. So the host is essentially where it's saved so that everybody can access it. There are obviously 4 different plans here. I'm going to roll with the WordPress starter. It's going to give me a free domain for the first year, so that in itself really pays for it in my opinion. So I'm going to click on add. And then in our cart, it's going to ask us how long we want to subscribe. It's the same price for anywhere from 12 months to 48 months. To get this bonus for as long as possible, I usually just go with the full 4 years if you can. You're saving a lot of money with that. But again, if you're on a budget, feel free to go with the 12 months, 24 months, and we're going to go and create our account. Now I'm just going to enter my credit card information and submit the payment. All right, so now we have our hosting. That brings us into the second thing we can do with ChatGPT when we're making our website. And this is actually choosing exactly what your website is going to be. So if you want to make, for example, a blog, but you don't really have a good idea of what blog to make or what you want to talk about, you can basically just say right here, I am interested. Now, for many people out there, you might already know what your website is going to be. But if you don't, if you just want to make a blog, if you want to make something that can earn you extra money and really be an outlet like that, then this is a great way to do that. So it's going to give you good names or reasonable names that you can kind of iterate off of. And I just asked her to give me 50 different website ideas based on a couple things that I'm maybe interested in. So it could say like Green Thumb Guru. Obviously you want to look this up and make sure that nobody else is already using that name. But in many cases, the stuff that I've seen this generate has been pretty original and really has been available. So this is going to take a couple minutes to do all 50 of these, but we're going to choose which one makes the most sense for me. So with this command, it's really important that you add as much information as possible. Really tell ChatGPT what it needs to know about you. So for me, I said I'm interested in, and I named a bunch of different things that I am interested in. And then I said, please name 50 website ideas that I could use for a new website. So this is just one example of the command, but if you're not getting things that are relevant to you, you could add more descriptors in there. For example, at the end, you could just put a period there and add another sentence saying, I am a college student with a very limited budget and I have access to a classroom that has a bunch of microscope equipment. Maybe that would be something that would be useful to get different output here so that it knows it's not going to suggest things that might be very expensive to you and instead might rely on things that you already have. But just going through these, you can see that a lot of them are, pretty good. So tech, sleep, solutions, and I don't really like the name on that one, but I could just say, okay, I like the idea there. Let's come up with some other names. So the really cool thing about ChatGPT is that it remembers what we said before. So I could just say number 13. Here we go. It's coming up with a whole bunch of different names that are based on that topic. So we could do like bedtime techies, dreamy devices. Okay, so maybe I like nighttime tech trends. What I could do is open a new tab and search for that in Google, and it looks like there is no specific website that I'm seeing that is exactly that. Now, obviously, you want to search for like local trademarks and LLCs, but right here you can see nighttime tech trends. Doesn't show up anything in Google, nothing specifically targeting this, which is good. Good for our SEO and good for obviously legal purposes as well. You don't want to steal somebody else's name. So that was number 2 there. ChatGPT helping us choose the name of our website and in some situations, the entire topic of our website. Number 3 is kind of related to the previous one, which is choosing a domain. So if your domain's not available, let's just say come up with and see what it's able to come up with. Obviously, nighttimetechtrends.com would be a good one. Maybe that's not the best name. It's kind of hard to say really quick. Okay, so let's go back to hosting here. The next step, since we now have a topic and a title of our website, is to claim our domain. So we're going to claim the domain, and we're just going to type in nighttime tech trends. That's the one that I'm hoping for here. And let's see if it's available with .com. That's really the ideal one. So we're going to say check availability. It's available. We don't have to pay anything for it. It's free this year because we already have the 4-year subscription. We're going to claim that domain, and I believe it will ask for our credit card information for the future when it renews. And it's going to ask us some other details. Now, domains need to be registered, and so it's going to ask some personal information. And just like that, Nighttime Tech Trends is being registered. So now if we go back and click on Home, it's going to suggest that we set up our WordPress starter. So that's really easy. We're just going to click Setup, and it's going to install WordPress. So we have a website that is ready to go. So we're going to click on Start Now. We're creating this for ourselves. Actually, we could skip all this if you want, but I'm going to build it myself. And this is going to be a blog. And you're going to say I know what I'm doing because hopefully I'll be teaching you what you're doing in this video. Now we have to create a WordPress account. This is different than your Hostinger account. Like I said, remember WordPress is that free open source platform. It's going to ask what plugins we want. We don't want any of those plugins right now. We can get our own plugins later. We don't want a template now. Again, we're going to choose all of that later. And we do want to use the domain that we already have, nighttimetechtrends.com. And we're going to click on Finish Setup. And it might take a couple minutes until WordPress actually has it all set up and ready to go. In the meantime, you really want to make sure that you are verifying your domain. So go back to your email, click on Verify Domain. You should have an email somewhere from Hostinger. And once you verify your email with your domain, you'll be ready to go. All right, so that'll bring us to this page here. We want to go to Manage Site. And from Manage Site, there's a couple things we want to do first of all. I usually like to enable daily backups. You can see over here, daily backups. So you can click on Add Daily Backups. This is a little glitch right here. It's not, I promise it's not $100 a month. It's usually like $1 or $2 a month. But if you click on Add Daily Backups, yeah, $2 a month, you can see right there if you get 48 months. So I think that's totally worth it so that if anything goes wrong with your website, you can roll it back really easily here, just restore from a backup, and you don't have to build your entire website from scratch. So going back to our dashboard, that's really all I wanted to show you. The next thing we do is click on nighttimetechtrends.com right there. You'll see this is what our website currently looks like. It's just using a basic template, basic theme, nothing special here. But if you want to go and manage your website, there's two ways to go about doing this. You could go through Hostinger every time and go and manage your website, or the easiest way, which I usually do, is go to your domain /wp-admin, and this will take you into the WordPress logins. And that'll bring us to our dashboard right here. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what everything here is, and then of course how ChatGPT can really help us with the website. But just a quick little rundown here in the dashboard tab, you'll see there is an updates kind of sub tab there. And looking at this, this is where you'll go every now and then to make sure that your plugins, your themes, everything is up to date. Then we have posts right here. This is going to be all of our blog articles, which we can have, of course, ChatGPT write for us. We don't need this one, so I'm just going to delete it, and that'll get rid of that one. Then we have media. This is going to be where you can upload all of your photos that you use throughout your website. It's an easy way to manage them and add like meta descriptions and things like that, or alt text rather, and things like that. Then we have pages. This is going to be obviously the main, like the bread and butter of your website, your home page, your about page, everything that you'll actually be seeing besides the blog posts, of course. Then we can manage comments. I usually disable comments. I find that there's so much spam out there. It's not worth it for me. But for some blogs out there, you might want to have comments. And then there are some spam filters you might want to get as well. This right here is a plugin that we don't need right now, as well as this one and this one. So to manage our plugins, we can click on plugins, and we can go and delete all the ones we don't want. I'm going to keep Hostinger. It's really important. Do keep Hostinger. It's hard to get. It's annoying to get that back. So I'm going to keep Hostinger, but I'm going to get rid of the other ones on here. We're going to select the other ones that I don't need, so we can go and deactivate them first. We'll say apply. And now we can go and delete those. All right, so there we go. Cleaned it up a lot. We don't have all the things we don't need. The next thing we want to do is actually get a theme. Now, this we can actually ask Hostinger what a good theme would be, but I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, the best one that we like to use is actually called Astra. So if we go to Appearance and click on Themes, we can look for Astra. So if we click on Add New, we can type in, or we don't have to type it in, it's right there, or you could type in, search up there for Astra, and we're going to install this one. Now we're going to activate it. And so Astra is essentially going to be how we're able to get a template. So now that we have Astra, the next thing we want to do is actually get a template. If we click on Astra on the left side, you should see somewhere on here that we should be able to get a starter template. So going down, I believe it is right over here, starter templates. I'm going to click on install. Now we're going to say build your website now. We're going to choose building with Elementor. There's other options, but Elementor is the easiest one in our opinion. It's also free, and you can upgrade and do a paid version if you want, but the free one for many people is definitely sufficient. And now since we're making a blog, let's look up a tech blog Let's see if we have anything related to a tech blog. They're going to give us a couple options here. You'll notice as well that some of these templates are free and some of them are paid ones. So we could just look at all of them right now. Or you could only, I'm not going to sort out just premium ones. I'm going to look for a free one for this website because, again, this is just a little example, but you might want to choose to pay for a premium one. Maybe it's worth it for you. So I'm going to select this one. And then from here, we're going to upload our logo. And that brings me into the next thing that we can do with ChatGPT, which is actually use it to help us make a logo. Now, it can't actually make graphics specifically, but it can kind of guide us through some ideas for some different logos. So if I just say, now let's make a logo. Now let's make a logo for Nighttime Tech Trends. And it's going to tell you it's not able to create the visual design, but it can give you some good descriptions of logos that we can then use to design a logo. So that gave us a logo idea. There are some different tools we could use. One of them is Canva. So if you go to santrelmedia.com/Canva, I also have a full tutorial on how to use it. It's really pretty easy to use. You can drag and drop things and make your logo there very easily. They also have different pre-made templates that are the right size that can use, great graphics and text and spacing and everything. Personally, I've used it many times on so many different logos, but there is another idea which uses essentially ChatGPT. It's the same parent company, but it's actually called DALL-E 2. So instead of going to chat.openai.com, we're going to go to labs.openai.com. And this is DALL-E 2, which can make images, graphics, and things like that for us. It can generate. It's generative AI, just like ChatGPT, but this is designed to make graphics. So if this right here said maybe a crescent moon with modern tech icons inside, then we can actually start off here by saying a crescent moon. So you might be able to get a good head start just by asking it for something simple like a crescent moon with some tech or whatever, and it'll give you at least some different ideas, maybe some colors. I really like this color scheme here, so you might want to work off of that one. And then, of course, bring it over to Canva so you can really iterate and optimize with your own stylistic touch on top of this. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to roll with this photo, and then we have our logo right there. And we can build some colors off of that. So I'm going to go with maybe this color scheme here. Or you can kind of iterate on this however you want and choose different colors. But I'm going to go down and choose a font. I want this to be a little bit more of a tech font. That looks like a pretty good one. And then we're going to keep all these selected, and we're going to say submit and build my website. And it's going to give us an entire template for many different pages that we can use, including different blog navigation, probably an about us page, a home page, maybe other pages on there as well. And we can choose which ones we want later, but this is going to start off by installing all of them. So there we go. Our website is now ready to go. I'm actually going to go up here and just delete everything after WP admin so we can go back to our dashboard. And from here, if we go down to pages, we should see there are quite a few other pages now, substantially more than we had. And this is going to be like checkout ones, transaction failed, order history, receipt, just in case people order things on here. If you're not selling stuff, it's very easy to just go and select all of these and just get rid of those by clicking the little trash button there. So let's go down and find our home page. I believe this is our home page right now, and we can click on Edit with Elementor, and that'll bring us to our home page in Elementor. Now this is where we can actually start to use ChatGPT again to really customize all of the text and the titles and the taglines throughout this entire page. Let's start off by choosing a title right here. I think here we could probably just call it Nighttime Tech Trends. And so we can basically just say create a maybe let's say 16 to 20 word subtitle for the website. Copy and paste that. Now, before we go too far in this, I want to kind of explain what we're dealing with. So this is Elementor. This is how we're going to be editing the entire website. So I made a full video on how to use it, but essentially this is our entire website right now. On the left side, if we click on the little arrow, it'll bring us out to all the different elements we have available. You can see tons and tons of different elements. And on the right side, it's kind of laid out in a section layout. So you have this entire section right here, which is all outlined in pink right now. This is another section. This is another section down here. And so within each section, there are these elements. So these are essentially, these are two columns. And in the columns, there are elements. Like I said, you can watch my full tutorial to better understand how to use Elementor. But in essence, we can click on anything, double click it, highlight it, change the text. That's going to be the fundamentals of what we'll want to do first. And then we can go through and change a little bit of how it's actually styled. So right here, we can say, and so maybe between these two sections, we can add another section. So let's click on the plus. We're going to add a layout. So if we click on this one, we can look at blocks, and we can say, maybe this right here would be great actually, or really this one. I like this one a lot. So let's click on this. This has 3 different columns. We're going to import that block, and that is absolutely perfect for what we're working on here. I want these 3 columns, so let's close out of that. I want these 3 columns to be related to the website. So now let's just go ask ChatGPT, now give me, and so now I know I want to have 3 things here, but I don't know exactly what I want. Maybe I want categories of blogs, so maybe like wearables, mattresses, and something like that. But let's actually get some ideas from the GPT. If we go back, we get to say, now give me ideas for 3 columns under the home page that might be categories or something like that. So we'll see what it comes up with. And so this is absolutely perfect. This is something I didn't even think of. I was originally thinking of maybe all reviews, but here it said we could have one would be like product reviews, one would be insights, basically exploring a little bit more about the science of sleep, and the other one could be some tips about some basic everyday advice to sleep better, because ultimately that might be what people are actually searching for. Even if the product reviews earn us those affiliate commissions, the nighttime tips might be more searchable when somebody says, how do I sleep better? Or maybe it's like too hot when I sleep, how can I fix this? And we can point people over to those sleep tech reviews in the future. So let's actually go with those 3 things. We're gonna say sleep tech reviews. For this one, we're gonna double click and highlight all of it, and then over here, we're gonna paste the new text. So we're gonna go there, and let's say I like the little subtitle right here, or the description. So if we highlight that, we can copy this and put that down here. And then feature 2, this can be sleep science insights. We're gonna copy that. So now we have our 3 different categories, but let's say I want something more actionable there. I want these to link out to specific categories of blogs. So if we just go and click anywhere off of here, let's actually close this. And when we reopen it, we'll be able to add a button. So I want to go and add buttons. Let's add buttons under each of these. So we're going to format this button first. So I want it to be centered. I want it to link to, well, we'll choose what the link is later. We're going to create some categories later. But let's go and change the name of this. And we're just going to say this is going to be Sleep Tech Reviews. Now we can right click on that. We can say duplicate and just simply click and drag it over to here. Duplicate that again and drag it over to this one. Now let's go down here and add another section, and this can just be like an About Us section. So we go to blocks, we can search for about, and so this could be maybe like this one. Let's go and import that block, and let's just say here about the blog, about nighttime tech. So now the next thing is essentially we're going to ask it to write an About Us section. So we could just say we are writing, there we go. So we'll just copy this one over here so we can highlight all that and paste. And now we want, now write a, let's say 250 word About Us. And so you can see how this is just, again, starting to save you more and more time and just general decision fatigue by asking it to write things like that. And then you can go and edit this on your own later on. All right, so that was a little bit more than I wanted. I'm just going to say, actually, let's make that 100 words instead. So the other thing you can do with ChatGPT is it remembers what you said before. And so you can just add a little modifier at the end and say, basically imply do the same thing, but instead you only state what you want changed. So we could just say, let's make that 100 words instead. It remembers what the previous request was, and now it's going to summarize that in 100 words instead of 250. So we're just going to copy and paste this now over here. And there we go. Now we have our About section. That's the next thing I wanted to show you that ChatGPT can do for your website is write entire sections, but that's not it. The next thing actually gets away from this. So if we just go up here and click publish, you can always click save as well. If you click the drop down, save it as a draft. We're going to click up on the top left, Elementor, and we're going to go back to manage our website. And from here, I want to go down to post, because the next thing we can do is actually use ChatGPT to outline and then later create entire blog posts. So the next thing we want to do is go back to ChatGPT, and now let's just say, now come up with 50 blog post ideas. So reading through these, I think maybe we want the binaural beats fact or fiction. That seems like, I don't know, an interesting article we might want to write. So if I just highlight that, copy that, now just say outline a blog article for titled, there we go. and we're going to see what it comes up with. And this is really the next thing I wanted to show you. So coming up with ideas is really half the battle. Looking at all of these can really spark a lot of kind of just new ideas that you can then go and research and figure out if there's any potential in that actually ranking in Google. But again, this could be hours and hours of sitting there and thinking about ideas, where this ChatGPT just whips them up like absolute nothing. So that, to me, is one of the biggest benefits of having this. But outlining it is also another great tool where it can do basically all the research for you, and then you just want to go and do the fact checking yourself. So having this, like the ability to outline an entire blog article, just absolutely mind-blowing to me. I've seen other people started to really use this as the beginning for writing a blog post, because writing a blog post, the two most difficult things are definitely finding a title to write about, and then when you just sit there and you just have a blank page, like actually getting started and figuring out what you should research and things like that. But getting the outline here, huge advantage that you can then go and build on that. Or what we're going to do in this video, as you already know, we're going to have ChatGPT build on that for us. So going back to WordPress, we can go to posts on the left side. We're going to click add new, and our new post, before we do anything in the block editor, we're going to add a title, and the title is just going to be pasted exactly what we thought the title was going to be, what ChatGPT said. And instead of actually typing it all out right here, I'm going to go and edit with Elementor. So edit with Elementor allows us to use all the tools we already saw, but applied to this specific blog post. So we can go and just add a text editor right here, and we can say, now let's write out, so we could say write out that. So it'll actually write out the entire paragraph for the introduction here. And so what I'm going to actually do right now is, based on this, I'm just going to go through one thing at a time, because there is a total word limit, of course. I'm going to go and have it do one thing at a time. I'm just going to say write out this one, write out the next one, write out this one. And so it's going to essentially use all of the bullets it already made, but flesh it out and give me the full blog article. And the benefit of doing it like this, not only is it now possible, like we couldn't just have it write the whole thing at once, but we have these nice little paragraphs that make it easier for formatting. I could put this paragraph on the left side, put an image on the right, then below I could put like the entire next paragraph. Formatting is easier when it's broken up into paragraphs like this. So if I want to go with this one, I can just highlight the first section of text and just put that in right there. So then down here, I want to click on plus and add a 2-column layout. So on one, I'm going to add an image. So we can go and add image. We select image, click and drag that. Maybe on the right side, we can add an image. And this image, let's just place, I don't know, maybe like this sleeping person would be a good one. That's not ideal, obviously. And then on the left side, we want to go and add some text. We're going to add some text. And now let's have it write out the second paragraph. And like I said, it did a lot of research already for us, and it's telling us all this information, but maybe you want it to be a little bit longer. So I want to show you two specific commands you could do right here to kind of really improve what you're getting out of this. So we could just say rewrite sections A and B, but make them twice as long, and include two. What I want to do here is essentially say rewrite those two sections, but well, first of all, make them longer, and second of all, include 2 quotes from influential sleep scientists such as Dr. Andrew Huberman. So let's see what it comes up with there. It should be rewriting just the first 2 sections. The third one looks good to me, so I'm actually just going to copy that while it's writing and go back to here, and we're going to paste that. Actually, I'm going to have this probably in a new section below here. So let's go and click and drag another text editor down here, and in this section, I'm going to paste that. And that's going to be explaining things like the sleep waves and whatever. That's section C of part 2 here. So let's go back and see if it's done writing. It wrote part A, and see if it has a quote anywhere in there. It should have quotes included. All right, so the first section was pretty straightforward. We don't have any quotes in this one. It looks like all the quotes are actually in the second one, explaining the science behind it. That really makes sense why you'd have more quotes in that one from scientists. But let's go, and up here, I wanted to add so right here I believe is our text editor. I'm going to paste this in there. And that looks like it's a little bit longer than I wanted, so maybe everything after, like right here, let's cut everything after that. And we're going to put another text editor right there, and we're going to paste the rest of it down here. Okay, now below that, we're going to have part B. So if we go back, we can have part B right here, and here we should be seeing, again, it's twice as long, Andrew Huberman, there we go, and then another one, Matthew Walker, there we go. So we have two scientists talking about sleep, and we have quotes from them, gives a little bit more credibility to the article, as well as obviously some very relevant information from highly credentialed people. But let's go down here and paste that below. So now we have our articles really starting to flesh out here. All we're gonna have to do is format this, obviously proofread and check like that. So now we're gonna ask it to write out the next one, but here again, we wanna improve the credentials. So we're gonna ask it to include 3 sources and reference 3 different scientific studies, so we have more real information in here as well. So now I'm just gonna copy over part A, and you guys know the drill here. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna go and add another section below. I like to add them all in individual sections just so it's a little bit easier to kind of edit this and move it around if we wanna add images to the right or something like that. And so we're gonna highlight everything. We're gonna replace it with the next thing. Now we're gonna go and make two sections down here, or 2 columns down here. And again, on the left side, we want to add an image. And an image on the left side, and then on the right side, let's go ahead and add another text editor and see if part B is done. It looks like it is. It talks about one study right here, as well as a reference. So I'm going to copy that. And again, formatting, don't worry about formatting right now. We'll change that in a minute. And then down here, we want to add just the opposite. We're going to add text on the left side, and then an image on the right side. So an image on the right side, text on the left side. Now, really, you'd probably want to put this reference at the bottom and just have a little asterisk right there. So that's probably the easiest way to do this. You can have like a little superscript there so that people can know to go and check out exactly what that is. But let's see what the third one is. Study number 3, if we scroll down, is down here. Study number 3. We're going to copy and paste all the rest of that down into another section below. I don't have anything specific I'm looking for here, so I'm just going to ask it to write all of those, and hopefully it fits within the length of one response. I'm not looking for anything super long here, because I think the meat of the article is probably going to be right in the middle there, with the study that we were talking about, the 3 different studies, as well as the explanation of what it actually is. Now within this, it would make a lot of sense to go and add some little like H2 or H3, some subtitles throughout to kind of organize it, so it's not just one giant like word soup. Again, I don't have to make this entire article. I think you guys get the idea of how this can really help you to basically just become an editor, where ChatGPT helps you find the blog article titles, research for the blog article, organize the article, and then actually write it as well. So from here, I'm just going to click on Publish on the top right, and we're going to go back to Elementor. We're going to click on Manage Website. That'll take us back here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is actually using ChatGPT for search engine optimization, for SEO. Now, I want to show you what it does well and what it also doesn't do well here. So we can just say, give me a complete SEO analysis of, and then I can just paste my URL there. It's going to check out the website. So thanks to a recent update, ChatGPT can now access websites. So if we just ask it right now to provide a full SEO analysis of our website, nighttimetechtrends.com, it'll access it and it'll tell you, I mean, first of all, right off the bat, it says that it can't do a full analysis because it doesn't know what our backlinks look like or our domain authority, basically like what we're already ranking on, but it'll tell us technically like we need to improve the page speed, the URL structure, like it tells us what's good, what's bad, and gives us an overview of what we can improve. And the best thing about this is if you go through these, so like let's look at this and say maybe like page speed, it says it takes more than 7 seconds to fully load. Maybe I don't know if that is normal or like what my target should be. So I can simply ask it, what is a normal target page speed? Like how fast should I be loading? And furthermore, what can I do to actually improve that? So these are all things that you can ask ChatGPT to do. And this I know is going to improve drastically over the next, honestly, couple months probably. As we get more and more updates, it probably will be much better at improving SEO of websites. But even right now, I think this is quite impressive. And then the last tip I wanted to show you with ChatGPT is actually asking it for suggestions for other plugins that we can use on WordPress based on the feedback it gave us. So I could basically say, like looking through these, it says we could use a caching plugin. So I can ask it, what is a good caching plugin to use? It'll suggest some of them. I could ask what the differences are between them, and it can help me make more informed decisions to optimize my website. So those are my tips on how to optimize your website using ChatGPT. Obviously, this is really an expanding horizon, and this is barely scratching the surface. But if you have any tips of your own or any questions as well, please do leave them in the comments below. I'm Mike O'Brien with Santrel Media. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.